Hi, my name is Brittany Williams. I am 29 years old from Aamjiwnaang First Nation. A little bit about myself. I'm entering the aviation industry as an AME, aircraft maintenance engineer, and while I do enjoy the industry, I don't know a lot about airplanes, surprisingly. Outside of that, I like reading. I enjoy spending time with my dog, dog park, beach, all for his benefit. I don't like the beach myself. What else? I enjoy listening to music, car rides, tinkering around. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So my journey to a successful completion of post-secondary is actually a long one. It's not my first time attending. My first time attending, let's go back here actually. So right out of high school, I took a year off. My dad was sick, so I didn't want to travel too far. And then after that, once he passed and I felt I was finally able to go to school, I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. So I went for general arts and science. Huge waste of time, probably. I'm not for people who are interested in that, but I wasn't prepared for college. I wasn't in the right mindset. I didn't have the interest, the drive, or anything like that. I was basically kind of wanted to explore some options. So I didn't do very well, and then I came back, spent quite a few years in various work environments. 5 years at a manufacturing plant where I ended up making up the team leader. And then after that, there were some cutbacks and I got laid off. It was at that point where I was back to where I started and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So wasn't completely aware of all the resources that were offered to Indigenous students, prospective Indigenous students. So I went to a second career center and basically was hoping for some direction. They gave me an aptitude test, and the first thing on that aptitude test was an aircraft maintenance engineer. And I didn't know what this was. I'd never heard of it before. But after some research, it just kind of felt like the right fit. It's an industry that's constantly learning, high safety standards. I'm talking the highest you can think of. And it would just kind of challenge me, keep me interested, allow for continuous growth, and all of that was very appealing to me. So I figured, gotta make this happen. After that, I ended up getting another another job, just to kind of keep myself busy in the meantime while I did some upgrading over at the resource center there. Did way better than I was expecting. I wasn't bad in high school, but I also wasn't very motivated. So I guess everything's just about timing. But I did really, really well. Very surprised by that fact, but it gave me kind of the confidence to continue going for the post-secondary option. So I applied, found out that there was resources for financial help and kind of supports. And yeah, it was a successful transition, and here I am now, a graduate. So I kind of hit on why I chose to study it a little bit previously, but more specifically, it had nothing to do with a fascination for aircraft or rotorcraft or anything like that. It was all basically a bunch of boxes that were ticked that kind of just kept my interest and made it seem like this could be a career that I could thrive in. So standards are always improving. You have to stay with those standards. You got to keep kind of learning. You got to stay invested in the industry and its growth. Again, the safety thing, it's the highest safety standards that you could think of. And I know from what I've been told that there are other industries that actually kind of base their safety standards off that. And as someone who takes that very seriously, that was appealing to me. I enjoy hands-on. I'm not very book smart, so the fact that I could learn and also apply that, but be kind of busy, kind of working, like what's an example? Like physically tearing apart something and then putting it all back together, diagnosing. I'm good at troubleshooting, another huge thing that is required for that. So I guess I kind of just felt like it was a good fit for me. Took previous work experience, previous hobbies, and kind of put it towards all that, and it's actually helped me realize that it's definitely going to be a good fit. So my favorite and least favorite things about aviation. There's not really a least favorite. I guess I would say, there's a lot of like aviation nerds in the industry, and I feel like coming in like fresh, green, not really a lot of knowledge on particular aircraft, kind of may take a while for me to be well received, known, I guess, just because like I feel like I'm gonna step in this industry and not really have much to kind of converse about. So other than that, though, I don't really consider a least favorite thing. But my favorite thing about it would probably be how small the industry is. Like, you wouldn't think that, but on like a grand scale, it's quite a small industry, and once you get in, you pretty much, you make so many connections, and it's easy to keep those connections. It's kind of like a little community, I guess you could say. You could work with one person, and then like someone way across the country could know that person's name. It's crazy. Yeah. So I've had many post-secondary challenges. I don't know if I've had one that was more so at the front of the line than the others. I guess like it's honestly a mindset issue. I didn't know if I deserved to be there sometimes. I didn't know if like I was good enough to be there sometimes. I was stressed about not really being on the same level as students who were entering. Mature student, by the way. So that was also kind of, I just felt like I had a lot of catching up to do. I had a lot of life experience, a lot of work experience, but I wasn't sure if like when I first started that was going to be something that would be, you know, applicable to what I was trying to do. So stressors from like other life, like financial stress, and like kind of feeling like I should also be doing other things for someone my age, like maybe just like picking up a job on the side, and just kind of felt like my life wasn't really, felt like I was taking a step backwards versus like being in the work industry like just like a few months prior, and then all of a sudden being a college student. It was a huge adjustment. So I guess probably in my second year, I did some volunteerism over the summer for some Indigenous community involvement, I guess you could say, at Fanshawe College. And once I found that balance, that purpose, that this wasn't an entirely uncommon issue amongst Indigenous students, it kind of made me feel like, I guess you could say, like, there was other people who were going through this as well. And so long as like I just kind of like stuck to my own lane and I was successful, I guess just one day after the other sort of framework, then I would get through it. But it was tough, honestly. Like, situations kind of just all built up, and it was just hard for myself personally to deal with them and kind of keep convincing myself to keep going. But again, I said, like, there was lots of supports, even from like my own personal family and friends. It just kind of made that a little bit easier. But other than that, though, for any struggles, I guess the only struggles I really had were the ones that I kind of thought up myself. So my favorite memory from my time at school would probably be the first time I ran up an aircraft. So basically, for maintenance, you would pretty much start an aircraft, kind of run it through a few operations, just to make sure everything sounds good, everything's running good, everything's in parameters. And as someone who has, well, never really been in the cockpit of a plane before, it was pretty intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, I was quite nervous. I was like, oh, I'm gonna probably like hit something and we're gonna go down the runway, we're gonna like take off somehow, or I don't know, it's just gonna be all bad. And so it was a little Cessna 150. Actually, it might have been Cessna 152. I don't know, but really teeny tiny plane. I could fit in it fine, but my professor kind of was like crunched in there. That's how small it is. Get in there. He walks me through it. And I remember because of the actual like pandemic, there was kind of protocols in place. So there was like a piece of plastic in between us. And I remember that made me really freaking nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, what if like I hit something, we go and you can't reach over to like turn it off. So it was terrifying, but also like the coolest thing I've ever done, like at that time. It's a little teeny tiny thing, like honestly, like you could probably it'd be like the equivalent to a wind-up toy compared to like the large aircraft. And it went off without a hitch, honestly. Like we ran through some operations. I heard the airplane start up. We were like kind of like tied down, but we're still like kind of going like that a little bit, like shaking. And I was like, this is so freaking cool. We upped the RPM and watched parameters. He asked me a few questions and it was all good. Shut it down. And I was like, well, I can't even feel let down by this experience because I thought it was going to be like more, but it's not intimidating in the slightest. It's very, very cool. Like who doesn't look at like knobs and switches and buttons and not want to press them? Like maybe that's just me, I'm childish, but yeah, it was all very, very cool. So advice for future Aamjiwnaang prospective students, or just kind of like looking for the right path. I'm not an overly inspiring person, but I can certainly give some insight. So life's kind of hard. The Indigenous perspective is particularly hard. Kind of things like intergenerational trauma, that's real, and that kind of makes stuff also hard. So even like the good times, they were pretty much in front of hard times as well. So even the good times were hard times. And basically, if you're going to be making your way past that, you have to want it. Like you have to know yourself, and you have to know what you want in life. If that's a career, and just basically make a web. How do I get to this point? Am I going to have to make connections? Am I going to have to go to college? Am I going to have to work so long in this job to get some experience before I can transfer over? And you have to be ready to know what you want. Like if you're not there yet, don't waste your time. And college, honestly, it's kind of overrated. Trades are great. They're huge right now. Like you'll always be like constantly kept interested. You get so many cool tools. Like they're so shiny in your like cool shiny toolbox. And you're basically just setting yourself up for like a career, but also like a hobby. Like you're gonna go home and you're gonna take those experiences and you're gonna want to work on your motorcycle. I don't know. But if that's not your cup of tea and you want to go to college, then just be ready. Just know that it's gonna be a lot, and you're gonna wanna maybe maybe not think that you're capable of doing it, but you just got to keep pushing through. Research resources, research supports, talk to somebody like in the education department, maybe, I don't know, talk to like somebody you trust, like at the resource center, and they have so many supports, man. There's bursaries, there's scholarships, there's grants. Like if you do OSAP, you can get like grants, but like not like you can decline the loans. That's a pretty important one to know. It's basically money that you don't pay back, which is great, because I know that's a huge barrier is finance. Look up the college that you're going to, see if they have like a sense of like community for Indigenous students. Take Fanshawe, for instance, they have a great one. It's called the Institute of Indigenous Learning, and it's just kind of like a space. Just like you can go there, you can get like academic help, you can talk to somebody, you can join programs, and yeah, it's just like a community space. And if the college you're going for has that can be a huge benefit, because you'll have somewhere to kind of go to decompress, or to like talk about your worries or your potential situations that you're facing, and know that you're getting very specific and kind of like catered to you help. And if you're not comfortable with that at all, also fine. Just basically just really know you. Just really know you, really know what's best for you, and kind of just plan everything else around that. If you're not a planner and you're spontaneous like I am, then also that's awesome, and I'm jealous. That's it.